Welcome back to the deep dive. So you've given us this really interesting set of sources detailing some intense early experiences for Jedi candidates Anakin Skywalker and Tahiri.
That's right. Very specific incidents.
Yeah, and our job today is basically to pull out the most, well, surprising bits, show you how these young students navigated some serious moral questions, physical danger, and even these ancient linguistic puzzles.
All packed into one incredibly chaotic week, really.
Exactly. It sounds like a pressure cooker.
It absolutely was. We're essentially tracking their race against time on two
Right.
fronts. First, trying to save this unique friend, Lyric, from a biological clock, basically.
Okay.
And second, simultaneously trying to unlock this, ancient galaxy-spanning mystery. A curse, really.
A curse. Wow.
Yeah, and what the sources show, interestingly, is that the solution to this huge millennia-old problem wasn't like some epic lightsaber duel.
No, what was it then?
It came down to a moment of really simple, unexpected cultural insight. Linguistics, basically.
Fascinating. Okay, so we'll be covering their time at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy on Yavin 4. Then a pretty brutal-sounding trip to the moon, Yavin 8.
Very dangerous.
And then this crucial linguistic aha moment. The one that apparently revealed the big bad behind this curse enslaving children.
The evil Jedi Knight Exar Kun, yeah. That reveal is a major turning point.
It's like a fast track to some pretty advanced Jedi knowledge, or maybe danger. Okay, let's unpack this.
All right, so we start things off in a relatively serene setting. The grand audience chamber of the Great Temple on Yavin 4. Luke Skywalker's teaching the next generation.
Right, the classic academy setup.
Exactly. And we see Anakin Skywalker there, son of heroes, immense raw power, but often kind of a loner, keeps to himself. And then his friend, Tahiri Vela, her background is really interesting, raised by the Sand people on Tatooine.
The Tusken Raiders.
That's them. So she has this completely different perspective, this edge in survival and understanding wild environments. A great counterbalance to Anakin.
Okay, so what's the lesson Luke's teaching them in this scene?
Well, it's pretty philosophically dense, actually. He's teaching them to use the Force to travel in the mind, to retrieve lost memories.
Okay, like mental time travel.
Sort of, yeah. And this is where he gives that really famous piece of advice to another student, Chitter, this blue-skinned alien. He talks about absolute commitment.
Oh, the no try, only do idea?
That's the one. He says, asking the question means that you have already accepted that possibility. There is no try, only do for a Jedi. In trying, there is success, regardless of the outcome.
That's a heavy concept for young students. Absolute action.
It is, and it directly shapes what happens next, because while Luke is teaching this theory, Anakin and Tahiri are already dealing with a secret. They're trying to solve this massive problem they stumbled upon.
A secret problem? What is it?
It's this curse, locked inside a giant golden crystal globe they found in the palace of the Woolamander.
Okay, wait. A golden globe filled with... What did the source say? Glittering golden sands and the cries of children trapped within its spell.
Exactly that. It's incredibly sinister.
Why is this globe such a big deal, and why are they investigating it secretly? Why not tell Luke?
Well, that's the crux of it. The whole thing is being sort of guided or maybe nudged by this ancient Jedi master, Ikrit.
Ikrit, the fluffy white creature.
Yeah, that's him. And Ikrit laid down a very specific rule, one that kind of goes against standard Jedi protocol, you could say.
How so?
He told them explicitly that if an adult Jedi master tried to break the curse on the globe, it would shatter.
Shatter, destroying the children inside.
Precisely. Ikrit stated the curse must be broken by children strong in the Force, not adults.
Wow. So it's not just about power, it's about age and being willing to act maybe outside the normal channels?
Exactly. It's a test of their decisiveness, their willingness to act unilaterally, maybe even against what they think Luke or the Jedi Council might want.
So that no try, only do lesson gets tested immediately, but in a way that demands this really dangerous independence.
Perfectly put. And the whole situation gets thrown into, well, absolute chaos when they meet Lyric.
Right, Lyric. The red-haired girl from the moon, Yavin 8, she introduces a whole new level of urgency, doesn't she?
A very immediate, very tangible crisis.
Yeah.
She's a Melodie.
Okay, tell us about the Melodies. The sources mention they're humanoid, hatch from eggs, live on this mountain.
That's right. They live in the Purple Mountain Sistra on Yavin 8. But the critical thing is their life cycle.
Yeah.
They have this event called the Changing Ceremony.
And this is where their biology becomes a major problem for Lyric.
A deadly problem. Around age 20, Melodies have to undergo this transformation. Their legs fuse into a webbed tail. They develop gills. They basically become fully aquatic.
And if they don't do it in time.
They die. Respiratory failure.
Yeah.
And Lyric, when they meet her, is already showing signs. Her fingers are starting to web. Her breathing is getting difficult. She has to leave the academy immediately.
Just drop everything and go back to Yavin 8 for this ceremony.
Exactly. But the changing itself is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
It has to happen in this specific shallow cove. It's covered in this blue-green algae.
Why algae?
It seems to act as a sort of temporary oxygen source while their physiology shifts underwater. But during this process, they are completely helpless, immobile,
Making them vulnerable.
extremely vulnerable to Yavin 8's predators. And this moon has some nasty ones. We're talking giant birds of prey, the avrils.
8-meter wingspans, the source said. Huge.
Huge. Then there are wraiths, these black rodents that hunt Melodie eggs, constrictor snakes called reels, and these vicious red-bristled spiders, the perilous.
So the cove is like a buffet during the changing ceremony.
Basically, yeah. The Melodie children try to guard the changelings, but it's perilous. Lyric's hope is to survive, get through the changing, and maybe bring back some Jedi knowledge to help protect her people later.
So Anakin and Tahiri get permission and go with her to Yavin 8.
They do. But the mission just instantly goes critical. The moment they arrive, one of those giant avrils attacks.
And who does it target?
It goes for Tahiri. But Lyric, well, she reacts instantly, throws herself over Tahiri.
Sacrifices herself.
Shields Tahiri, yeah. The avril snatches Lyric and carries her off towards its nest high up on the mountain.
Oh my god. So first test. Rescue Lyric from a flying apex predator's nest. How do they even manage that?
Well, this is where their training, limited as it is, gets put under maximum pressure. And Anakin, he does something remarkable. Pure force instinct.
What does he do?
He uses the force to perfectly mimic the sound, the high-pitched shrieks of the avril's own checks.
To confuse the parent bird.
Exactly. Causes the adult avril to become disoriented, confused.
Yeah.
Just long enough for him and Tahiri to grab the weakened Lyric.
Incredible improvisation.
Absolutely. They managed to rush her down the mountain, get her to that specific cove, and submerge her in the algae just as the changing fully kicks in. Just in time.
Wow. Okay, crisis averted, but the danger isn't over, right? Lyric is still vulnerable during the change.
Right. And while she's defenseless, the students basically have to stand guard. They end up defending the Melodie egg cavern from wraiths and those constrictor reels.
And this is where Tahiri's background comes into play.
Yeah, her unique upbringing really shines here. Dealing with the wraiths, the egg-stealing rodents, she uses her knowledge of similar desert creatures. Womp rats, back on Tatooine.
So she could anticipate their movements.
You understood their patterns, their likely strike vectors. She used environmental knowledge, tactical thinking, not just raw force power. Very smart.
But then Anakin faces something darker. The source mentioned a chilling display of power against one of those reels.
Ah, yes, that was intense.
Reservoir.
A giant constrictor reel has Tahiri trapped. Anakin's weapon is useless against it.
So what does he do?
He closes his eyes, reaches out with the force. But not externally. He goes inside the snake's body.
Inside it.
Locates its cold-blooded heart and just stops it. Uses the force to extinguish its life from the inside out.
Whoa. That's a profound level of control. And incredibly dark for a Jedi candidate.
Immense power, yeah.
Yeah.
And a huge moral threshold to cross. It saves Tahiri's life, no question. But it definitely shows him and us the terrifying potential he wields and the self-control it demands. It pushes the boundaries way beyond any lesson back in the Grand Chamber.
Okay, so they survive these immediate threats. Lyric successfully completes the changing. What happens then?
We finally get to connect the dots. They meet Aragon, the oldest Melodie elder. He's described as the keeper of legends, living in the crystal blue waters where the transformed melodies reside.
And this is where the survival mission connects back to the ancient curse and the golden globe.
Exactly. Aragon confirms that those strange symbols Anakin had seen and drawn earlier, they are messages left by the Massassi people.
The Massassi, the ancient race that built the Great Temple on Yavin 4.
The very same. An ancient force-sensitive civilization. Aragon tells them the Massassi left those messages centuries ago, seeking help.
Help for what?
Their children. The Massassi children had been enslaved by some kind of unnamed darkness that had infiltrated their society.
Enslaved. That connects to the cries in the Golden Globes.
Precisely. And here we see Tahiri's determination again. She's underwater, talking to Aragon, running low on oxygen.
Right, she's not aquatic like Lyric or Aragon.
No. But she pushes him, pressures him to remember the full carving, the complete message. And under that pressure, Aragon finally recalls the critical details.
What are they?
The message directs whoever reads it to the fourth moon. Yavin 4. And, crucially, it finally names the villain,
Who is it?
the evil Jedi Knight, Exar Kun.
Exar Kun. That gives the whole curse this immense historical weight, doesn't it? A fallen Jedi.
A huge figure from Jedi history, yes. So now they know who they're up against, even if he's long gone. But they still don't have the full message from the globe itself, the key to freeing the children.
So they need the complete set of carvings to create a proper translation cipher.
Exactly. Which means one final test on Yavin 8.
Yeah.
They have to venture into the deepest tunnel system, which happens to be the lair of that other predator.
The perilous spider. Oh, boy.
Yeah. The sources describe a pretty horrifying encounter. They find the carvings they need, but bam, ambushed.
Paralyzed by venom, dragged into its web. How do they possibly get out of that?
They're physically helpless, can barely move, so fighting is impossible.
So the Force again.
But not in an attacking way.
Yeah.
Pure environmental control. They focus their combined force energy on the web itself.
On the web.
They start rocking it
Oh.
violently, rapidly, building momentum until the massive spider loses its footing on its own snare.
They flip the spider onto its back using its own web.
Exactly. It gets tangled and trapped in its own sticky threads. Brilliant tactical thinking, using the environment, not just brute force.
Clever, and then they escape.
Tahiri uses her multi-tool, cuts them free, and they get out of there with the full set of symbols.
Mission accomplished on Yavin 8 then. They return to Yavin 4. And they brought someone with them.
Yes, a young Melodie girl named Sana. She's 9, also strong in the Force. Luke accepts her into the academy immediately.
Okay, so they have the symbols. They know the villain is Exar Kun. They know the location is the palace back on Yavin 4. Seems like they have everything they need to translate the message on the globe.
You'd think so. But this is where they hit the wall. This, for me, is the most crucial, most insightful part of this whole sequence.
What happens?
They get back to Anakin's room. They spend hours trying to match the Massassi glyphs to basic letters. They try every combination they can think of. Nothing. Just gibberish, as the source puts it. They're completely frustrated, convinced the cipher is wrong or they're missing a piece.
Why couldn't they figure it out?
Because they were stuck in their own cultural perspective. They were arranging the symbols horizontally, left to right, like basic is written.
Ah, and the Massassi didn't write like that.
Apparently not. And the pressure is mounting, right? They know cracking this code is the only path to freeing those trapped children.
So who solves it? Not Luke, not Anakin with his raw power.
Nope. The solution comes from the newest, youngest candidate there, Sana, the little Melodie girl.
Sana.
She just walks into the room, sees their complex diagrams laid out horizontally, and very simply states the obvious from her perspective.
Which is?
Melodies, and therefore, she assumes the ancient Massassi who were on Yavin before them write their words from top to bottom, vertically.
It wasn't a complex decryption problem at all.
Not at all. It was a simple problem of orientation, perspective. Assuming their way was the only way. The answer was literally right in front of them, just rotated 90 degrees.
And that cultural insight, that simple observation was the key.
It unlocked everything, instantly. Anakin rearranges the symbols vertically, and the message becomes clear.
What does it say? The full message from the Palace of the Woolmander.
It reads, "Peace to all, we are the Massassi. Our children have been imprisoned by the evil Jedi Knight Exar Kun. Locked deep within this palace, hidden in the glittering sands of a golden globe, they await. The crystal that holds them prisoner can only be unlocked by children, strong in the Force and dedicated to the battle of good over evil. If you are the ones, enter the globe and lead our children to freedom."
If you are the ones. So the message itself confirms Ikrit's warning. It had to be them.
Exactly. So you look at that weak,
That's
intense, right? They didn't just survive 3 different types of deadly predators.
Yeah, they face complex moral choices, like Anakin stopping the snake's heart.
Right. And they ultimately succeeded by deciphering an ancient writing system, not through force power alone, but through observation and accepting a different cultural viewpoint. They truly live that don't just try principle.
It really highlights this tension, doesn't it, between the formal Jedi code and teachings and then the radical, sometimes messy application of it in the real galaxy.
Absolutely. The ultimate success here, breaking a curse thousands of years old, didn't come from decades of Jedi lore or academic study, or even Anakin's raw power, impressive as it was.
It came from Sana's simple observation.
Yeah, the ability to listen to and incorporate an alien culture's perspective. That was the linchpin.
And it also shows they were willing to follow Ikrit's guidance. This obscure ancient master kind of going against the grain of Luke's established training structure?
They had to question or at least operate outside the established authority to fulfill the mission and save those children.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, listening out there. Anakin and Tahiri succeeded. They became the chosen ones for this task because they acted decisively, following a pretty rogue direction given by Ikrit, risking catastrophe with that globe. So, if true Jedi strength sometimes requires candidates to abandon caution, to question authority, to embrace unauthorized, potentially catastrophic danger, what kind of line does that really draw? How thin is the veil between a loyal student of the Force and a necessary rogue agent acting for the greater good?
Something to definitely think about as their story, and Anakin's particularly, continues to unfold.